Hello and welcome to CVG's Nintendo E3 preview show. I'm Dan Dawkins and I'm joined by Tim Clark.
Hello.
And Rob Crossley.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about what Nintendo should do at their E3 conference and perhaps what they could get wrong and hopefully don't. Tim, what do Nintendo need to do at their conference?
They need to do what they probably need to do for a couple of conferences right now, which is to have a super soaraway success, as I would say if I'd worked on the Sun. Hello, US viewers. Clearly what they need to do is show their big IP hitters in a kind of exciting new games. That's what people have been waiting for. I speak as someone who owns a Wii U and has got now 2 games for it because I got rid of Zombie U. So I've only got Super Mario World and soon Pikmin. They need to deliver a new 3D Mario. They need to show what the future of the Zelda franchise is going to be beyond the HD Wind Waker remake. They need to show what Mario Kart's going to look like. And that's even like, I think, just... That's hygiene considerations. That's the least they've got to do. What you'd love them to do, which Nintendo hasn't done a lot of, is show genuine new IP that can kind of add to their roster. I want to see, you know, kind of what retro and people like that are doing, which hopefully we will also see. I mean, everything I want to say in the Nintendo section, I think should be prefaced by the idea that I think Wii U is in a pretty terrible place and may well be doomed. But I don't think that means doomed for necessarily Nintendo, and I think they've actually got quite a strong opportunity in this kind of lull, really coming into a summer that's got a couple of good games, but then after that nothing till next gen. They have a real chance to show a different offering, but whether or not they can grasp that is another matter.
Rob, what do you think?
I think Tim's absolutely spot on. As well as showing off their classic Nintendo IP, I think they've also got to show how it's unique to the Wii U, how it works
in terms of the play experience from the tablet.
How it works on the tablet or the gamepad, as they call it.
Because there's still really, beyond, like Nintendo Land is a nice, interesting collection of ideas. Yeah. There's nothing so compelling that you go that as proof of concept, I must keep experiencing this wonderful enmeshing of tablet and TV. Like they haven't delivered experiences, and neither of us have even mentioned third party, because I mean, Dan, we were talking about earlier about whether Nintendo, how long it is before it ends up becoming a machine which is without third party support.
I feel like we're almost there.
Well, you don't want to be too hysterical about it, and I'm sure like a lot of third parties, if you said to them, "Are you still interested in Wii U?" they'd pay the lip service saying, "Well, we consider all platforms and yada yada yada."
Keep an open mind about it.
But the reality is, you only have to look at their slates of what's in development. It becomes hard to see where that support's going to come from. I mean, they may benefit for a while from this kind of cross-gen phenomenon where people are still making stuff for PS3 and 360.
How long is that going to last?
A year, 18 months maybe.
And isn't it worrying that current-gen games aren't being developed on the Wii U as well?
Yeah, I'd say it's worrying like ravens landing on your shoulder and pecking at your eyes, worrying.
Wearing your meat hat.
I think what's
by cougars.
It's the GameCube sold 20 million units, right? That is Nintendo's core base. They've got 20 million people around the world that will buy.
My favourite machine of that generation.
Yes, it was a great machine.
How long ago was that?
So they've got 20 million core Nintendo fans. I think the Wii did a great job in getting in 80 million other people that kind of are interested in games. It was a phenomenon. I think they're now making that transition back to the core. And in order to make that transition back to the core, they have to show off the games that were as good as they were on the GameCube. Really innovative, interesting.
But with respect, Rob, that won't be enough for them, was it? Because I mean, the N64 and the GameCube ultimately were failures against powerful competitors.
Yeah, so I guess I'm saying that they are going to fail.
They can't retrench back to that.
Yeah.
It was bottled lightning, wasn't it? You looked at Wii during the height of when it was piling up cash, and you went, "Oh, Nintendo, we all doubted them, but they knew it." But it becomes hard to shake the idea that maybe they just super lucked out.
That's absolutely right. The Wii basically hid their underlying problems.
Yeah.
They had a problem at the end of the GameCube when they were competing against Microsoft and Sony, and Microsoft and Sony, when it came to the core, they were beating them in every way. And so they jumped into this casual market. And they did an extraordinary thing. They got so many people on board. It was an amazing thing. But those casual gamers
couldn't sell them third-party games.
Wasn't
sure what sorts of games they wanted to play anyway.
They don't want a poor port of Batman 18 months on.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because they bought it for Wii Fit.
Well, those gamers don't even really want to buy
Consoles.
Super Mario or Zelda.
No.
That's
Yeah.
not what they're in it for. Just Dance and Wii Fit and yada yada yada. And
But
That's
I
absolutely
think
right.
that's the point of Nintendo is that when they've got it right, they've bottled lightning, not just once, but twice, but 3 times. They've done it with something like, almost like Pokemon invented a collection craze. We invented like quite literally a new way to control games. And then they invented things like brain training, which reached out to like an aged demographic, almost like of taking a vitamin.
Yeah. And let's not. I mean, they're not. These aren't like clownish chances who just keep happening on good things. They're really smart people who understand more about the idea of play than certainly most of us ever will.
They've hit demographics that previously weren't being served almost.
And they do have a track record as well in taking things which seem initially ludicrous and confusing. The DS was laughed at the time, and ultimately making hugely successful and popular platforms out of them. But that said, massive question marks still hanging over what the point of the tablet is. Like it seems so. They last E3 they were still struggling. Much worse even than Microsoft are now with what their message was, and when you've got a company like Nintendo, which is fundamentally built around fun, talking about ideas as complex as asynchronous gameplay. I can barely pronounce it.
Oh, that is one of the worst words in games.
For them to be, but what they were talking about is really fun. When you experience it and it's in your hand, it is really fun. But they can't. That's something that can't be done in a TV spot. I mean, one of the things I did want to say actually that I think is interesting, and where they are right is in doing the press conferences. I think their whole move to Nintendo Direct has been a masterstroke. It probably won't be enough to save them, but I love what they're doing in that space. Like E3, we love E3 because we're part of the whole circus.
Yeah.
But really, in terms of the way it functions, is preposterous now. The idea of flying people all over America and all over Europe into this one place to see things in dark rooms and then go back and tell people about what they've seen when you can beam it to them direct is nuts.
When there's so much focus on the presentation of it, why not just pre-record it?
But exactly, Rob. It's going this way. You'll see on Sunday there's the Call of Duty reveal. Depending on when you're watching this, Konami's probably already done its MGS reveal, and these are being done as half-hour or an hour TV shows effectively.
Yeah.
And be under no illusions that that's the future, in my opinion.
I mean, this is going off tangent. I agree that I think there's actually something in the live performance element in getting people together in one room, creating a majestic event and a happening, bringing the industry to one place. When it's all just beamed into, because then
they're so rarely majestic. Everyone grizzles about it.
The experience then gets entwined with me sitting in my front room looking at pairs of dirty pants and experiencing Nintendo. Not that I don't keep a clean house, but you create like an event, an experience. You get a magical tent. You get people in.
But don't you think the event is now people seeing it beamed to them and experiencing it on a second screen anyway? Like when I've sat in like various E3s, certainly the last couple, the experience has been of reading people on Twitter like responding to it and being invariably a bit snarky and that. But I just think Nintendo are smart in the sense that they're being quite kind of punchy and going, we're going to duck out really of a lot of the way the press coverage works, and we're going to control it.
It's smart for them because they've been seen to lose a couple of years on the bounce. So
well,
why even take part?
They don't have a new machine this year. They've got their own messaging problems to deal with, but they've got no real reason to put on that sort of razzmatazzy 1,000 people in an auditorium, and they've been quite bad at it as well. Like their press conferences again are always like terribly. I don't know what playlisted is almost the right word, where you'll have like a lovely bit, then you'll have these doldrums of almost nothing happening for ages, and then you'll get to the end going, well, they're going to show the game scene, and then you're suddenly being ushered out into the LA sunshine.
One of the clever things they have done is that it's very difficult to sell a Wii U because how can you explain it and describe it? It's a very odd machine.
Well, they didn't even show the box like 2 years ago, effectively, did they?
Yeah, exactly. So what they're doing now is they're going to get 90 Best Buy stores. They're going to put the new games in there. And so during E3 week, like regular people can go into these Best Buy stores and play on the Wii U, play these new games. And I think that's going to be really smart. And I think that's going to also be the way forward. We're going to see televised stuff and people demoing it for themselves, which means that we won't be needed anymore.
If it's twin to experiences,
I'll be able to retire to my allotment.
If experiences speak for themselves, like Tim said with Wii, it needed no explanation. It was a completely new way to control games, new demographic. Exactly like you said, there's not one game yet that says this is why I must have a Wii U. This is why the second screen is better than what you've got. There isn't a game that's doing that.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, this shows how nerdy I am. The game I'm most interested in is Wii Fit U, actually, because if that sells really well, if that sells super well, then that will show that they still have a casual market that they can cater to. And if it doesn't sell,
maybe you have to.
Which I don't think it will, but it will at least prove it. It's at least the canary in the mine.
Do you put a
I
support?
think there's a pile of canaries over there, and everyone's
Ignore
pretending
them.
they haven't seen them.
Ignore them, they're fine.
Will there be the Wii U fit girl doing press ups with the second pad, or will you
Yeah.
buttress it and stand on it? You know, like
I think it's their best attempt at engaging with that casual market, and if it doesn't sell, that means we're back to 20 million customers.
But Dan, you talked about price as well. I mean, I think they've almost got to go, we've got a big pile of cash. We're going to have to start selling these things at a real...
take the hit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
But it's not their style, is it? It'd be a huge change of corporate culture.
Well, if they took the hit, Iwata would basically lose his job, right? Because they would definitely post a loss, and he cannot afford to post one more loss. I mean, he is really... My personal opinion, he's hanging on because he's under... Or maybe I should say he's under such pressure to perform, right? And... so I don't think they can take that hit. Can they?
I mean, I read a good piece, I think, on GI about how like Nintendo can afford for Wii U as a machine to fail because ultimately the 3DS will carry them through. What they can't afford is for their IP to be devalued. That was the argument. I mean, do you think like how long a strategy could Wii U be? Is it something you could see Nintendo walking away from in a year's time, 2 years' time, and going, look, actually we do need to be part of this actual next generation, because at the moment it's not a next generation machine.
That's a huge question.
It's one which I'm asking you right now.
Well, we're going to wrap up in 4 minutes.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. The problem is that it's not a problem. There's a cultural thing going on here where I don't think Nintendo philosophically would do that. They don't abandon their audience, do they?
No, I don't think it's abandoning the audience.
No,
I think it's
but
just
they might
going, this
conceive it as
platform
that.
is not built. This is not fit for the purpose. If the purpose is,
They won't do that. They're too proud. Surely they can't do that.
I will happily keep my Wii U and just play Mario and Pikmin and Zelda on it. But I'm in that 20 million global core you said, which isn't really enough.
It's not enough to
Or maybe it
sustain
is enough for them. I don't.
If they all came back and they were all actively buying games, maybe it is enough. But
It's not what I don't think it's what they want as a company either. I think they want something that maintains the trajectory they had with Wii U, which was to have to provide breakout, mainstream, populist experiences, and they don't have that currently with Wii U.
I don't think they can do that anymore because it's not just what their console is; it's where the audience is, and
which is on tablet.
yeah, exactly. Their casual audience are playing on iPads.
And the LAN gamers will go to PlayStation 4 or Xbox.
Well, LAN gamers, I like that.
Yeah, see, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
that's great, yeah.
and again, you've got then potentially that's £800 plus of outlay on those two consoles, provided you even buy both. Where does Wii U, for me, who's yet to buy a Wii U, fit into that? Now, I'm looking at it almost as like
The kids' console? For
yeah,
your
exactly
boy?
that. For my boy who's almost 5 years old, I'd like him to be into games. I'm not sure I want his first game to be Titanfall or whatever it's going to be. So I might say, I like Mario. Mario games are cool. I could play it with him. Let's buy a Nintendo machine. But at the current price level of £200,
So it becomes a Fisher Price
game,
my first console.
yeah. But it's an angle, it's an approach. And if they were to make it, and again, like we said, it's
The
happen.
core would like that marketing message,
Yeah,
though, won't it?
but it is. It's your brilliant Fisher Price console.
And I semi-agree.
Make it, and this won't happen. Make it £99. Bring out all the big hitters pre-Christmas,
Can't afford it.
and just say you can't afford not to buy this. It's a brilliant complementary console.
That's
with
the
all
incredible
games.
thing is they've been so smart in the past about using like really cheap components to make GameCube and to make Wii. I mean, Wii was GameCube's glued together, wasn't it? But now they've made a machine which has got this expensive tablet. Even like Microsoft and Sony are nuts
that's
enough
the
to do
most
that.
staggering thing, that it's an underpowered system. Sorry, but it's less powerful than the Xbox and the PS4. Yet it's just as expensive because of the tablet.
Yeah.
That's what drives me
With
nuts.
a tablet which feels cheap.
Now,
I mean,
time is against us. I wanted to ask what could go wrong for Nintendo. I think we've discussed nothing but what goes wrong
we
with
should ask
Nintendo.
what could go right for Nintendo.
Yeah,
how
exactly.
Could they?
What could go right for Nintendo? What would be the best thing we could see?
I do want to say that Nintendo are always at their best when they're fighting for their life. When the
That's
GameCube,
fortunate.
yeah, when the GameCube didn't do so well, they invented the Wii, and when the 3DS was going downhill, they totally turned that machine around, and they did some beautiful things with it. And 3DS is doing really, really well. So I have faith that they will think of something, right?
Yeah, and I think like if you look at if you look at the internal development resources of all three of the platform holders, you could still make a strong case for saying Nintendo has the best in terms of raw creativity and talent. And Rob's right to say Wii U is underpowered, but still, an HD Mario game and a Zelda game are not things to be sniffed at, and are things that could be really, really exciting. But now is the time. It's kind of a...
They're still unprecedented within Nintendo's world. There's never been a sexy, proper 3D adult Zelda that a lot of us would absolutely lap up.
Yeah.
Finally, the good news, I asked Matthew Castle on official Nintendo magazine for what's actually going to happen.
Oh, this will be exciting.
Yeah, now his message was...
My prediction is Matthew Castle burst into tears during the press conference.
I sold him my dream, and he went, well, that's nice, Dan, but it's not that. He said he says it's all the series you know and love, all in HD.
Metroid?
He says,
did he offer Metroid?
He mentioned it possibly. He said it's basically everything you want to come, but much sooner than you expected. He said that pre-Christmas we could probably expect proper daddy 3D Mario. We could expect Mario Kart. Probably confirmation. Is again, Mario Kart's brilliant, even though I've been playing it for 20 years. There's also, potential for Metroid. There's potential to say, hey, on top of, is it Wind Waker remake?
Which I can't get excited about.
No.
I know it's a great game.
I'm super excited about that.
Really? But you played it, Rob.
Yeah, no, but I just in HD.
Oh, come on! It's like the Okami HD.
Go
I
back.
can't wait to not buy that in 3 years. And then they're going to show hopefully a bit of proper Zelda. Maybe not, but even if they don't, they're going to show a really big, strong hand of their first-party staples.
I'm going to say as well, because I don't want don't want to be painted as the anti-Nintendo guy in the comments. There's no game I'm looking forward to more than Pikmin 3 at the moment. I think it'll be a summer treat, but they need a lot more of that. And they need it this year.
And I would also say that it's really important for the industry as a whole that Nintendo does very well. And I hope they make billions doing very well.
And there's also, like Matt mentioned himself, there's scope for, if Sony and Microsoft implode by going, we're all about DRM, always online, blah, 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 they could sort of shoot themselves, and Nintendo are left almost by default.
Nintendo go, we don't even have an online policy.
We win!
What's this internet?
Hooray!
The inter what?
Well, once again, Iwata will be telling you direct to your face in a Nintendo Direct very soon. It's very exciting. We'll have post reaction as soon as it comes in. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe. Until then, cheerio.